Ed Lenny has travelled all the way over from Perth to be tonight's referee. A Scotsman who's settled in Australia. The two attackers for Brazil tonight, Vale, the number 9, and the number 10, Lincoln. But after the disappointment on Sunday, the Australian team are thoroughly professional in the sense that the comment they made was just a one-off performance. And you really are only as good as your last game, and that's what the Socceroos bring into this game, hoping to put on a performance that has the Australian public purring about their quality once again. And this is not a bad start for the Socceroos as they come forward. And Tony Vidmar, who will play at left back tonight. Agostino, nicely played. Little touch off, Viduka early on, still Viduka. Played across, off the feet of the goalkeeper. Welcome back, Mark Viduka. And within 30 seconds, Australia have had a more meaningful attack than they had throughout 90 minutes on Sunday. Agostino with the little back heel. Viduka had men all over him. He still managed to get the shot in. Corner to the Socceroos. Maloney takes it, and that's the second one to Australia. Well, shades of the Iran match here in 1997 when Australia just bombarded their opponents in the opening 2 or 3 minutes. Maloney again. Well, it would have gone in if the fullback had missed it. Tiato. Viduka flicks it on. It's an Australian throw. Well, there is still somewhat of an injury cloud over Mark Viduka. Problems with his quad the whole time he's been in Australia. He did go for a walk this morning. He trained lightly yesterday, so just have to watch him closely. It's a foul against Viduka this time on Marcos Paulo. Well, I did talk to Frank Farina before the game about the tackling on Sunday. He felt near the end of the game as players were getting a little bit frustrated, and perhaps there were a couple of challenges that he wasn't too impressed with, but the instructions haven't been totally different tonight, though he has laid down the law that he doesn't want anyone sent off for anything stupid. Michel forward for Brazil, and that's a foul by Ocon. Ed Lenny very quick to get in, blow the whistle, diffuse any situation that might crop up, and he talks to Paul Ocon there. The free kick was taken quickly. Well, this is just a great moment for Ocon, a player who's suffered so badly with injuries over the years since he's been in Europe. Captained Australia in 1991 in the World Youth Cup. Now captaining the full national team at the age of 27. Tiato touches it on. Agostino getting there, just trying to help it forward to Viduka. Tiato again. And that will be a Brazilian throw, but it's been given to Australia. And Mike Cockrell, this is a cracking start by Australia.
Yes, Paul, and that first foul by Paul Ocon, our friend Mr. Luxemburgo, and a couple of Brazilian officials straight off the bench, remonstrating with the referee. But I did speak to Eddie Lenny just before the match, and he made it clear he wasn't going to be intimidated by all the bad press that the Australians have been receiving the last couple of days for their tackling.
Tony Vidmar not showing any signs of pulling back, and there was a little nudge in the face there for Tony Vidmar, and he's gone down. There's no signs that the heat has gone out of the contest between these two sides. Viduka tackled. Vidmar still down in an offside position, holding his face. And that's a Brazilian throw. Well, Tony Vidmar had several players around him when he went into the corner. He lost the ball there. And you just see the hand come out from Michel, and perhaps he got a finger poked in his eye.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, the guy is balancing. He knows that Tony Vidmar's going to chase him. He just wants to palm him off. But unfortunately for Tony Vidmar, he palmed him off right in the eyeball.
He stayed down for a long time. As we take a look here, he was outnumbered by 2-1. And it's a bit difficult to say from that angle just exactly what happened, but play goes on. Australia will just play with 10 men for the time being. I wonder how the nerves of Steve Labert are going in the heart of the defence, but Australia still showing signs of coming forward. Maloney playing it in early. No pressure on Alexandre, the Brazilian keeper. I just wonder whether Tony Vidmar wears contact lenses, the way he was just holding his hand out there with some water going into the palm of his hand there. Tiato straight to Michel. Ball goes back to the Brazilian number 4, Milton Duo. Tierson. And Nielsen hardly had a touch yet for the Brazilians. It's a nice switch of play though. Look at the room on this side for the fullback Michel. Well, the pass was aimed for Adriano. Well, still Tony Vidmar is getting some treatment. It wasn't actually for an injury, it was a contact lens that needed to be replaced. He will now rejoin the fray. We've had just over 6.5 minutes here at the MCG. That southern stand is absolutely packed with people. It's a great crowd in tonight and a beautiful Melbourne evening as well. And Viduka could have made it perfect for most of the fans here with an early goal. This is nice interchange from Brazil. Yellow shirt streaming forward, but a strong intercept from Tony Vidmar. And Skoko also strong on the ball. Here's Agostino. Nicely laid off to Tiato, who will always run at his man if he can. He's being outnumbered. Well, interesting to note there, Paul Wade, that as soon as Tiato had a look at his fullback, a second defender came in very quickly. Yeah, and Michel's got it sussed out. I mean, they've obviously looked at the video over the last couple of days. He's going to try and force Danny Tiato inside, because Danny loves to go on the outside. Every single time he beat Mancini on Sunday, he went outside. That's where he's most dangerous. They realise they're probably outnumbered in height in the middle because Viduka and Agostino. So not only are they doubling up, but they're trying to bring him inside to make sure those crosses don't go in. Danielson being hassled on the ball. Ocon almost getting in there. Ocon challenging strongly. Mozart fails him. Lucky break there for Skoko, but he just couldn't get there as we take a look at Ocon going to ground. And Paul Ocon does play in midfield for his club team Fiorentina, so it's no problem adjusting from sweeper to central midfield for him, and that's a dangerous ball. Labert, very calmly played by the youngster. Ocon taking over. Switching play to Vidmar in space. After 9 minutes, it's Australia 0, Brazil 0. Eddie, we've had just under 10 minutes of the game. It's a little early, but I know you've been looking hard at the Australian lineup, in particular the new 4-4-2 system. What are your early thoughts?
Well, I'm very impressed with the fact that Paul Ocon is demanding that ball in the middle of midfield. You know, when they talk about Ned Zelic having a poor game, I didn't think he had a poor game because he wasn't on the ball that long. You can only have a poor game in my mind if you're actually giving the ball away. Well, Ned Zelic never got hold of it. Paul Ocon is demanding that ball. He realises that if they are going to get control of this game, they do have to. There's Frank Farina, the coach. He has to get the ball in the middle of the midfield. That's where a lot of the damage, the Brazilians do a lot of their damage. The balls from the midfield to the strikers and shut the gates.
Given away by Brazil. Skoko to Viduka, outside. This is another good move for Australia. It was blocked. Kevin Muscat joining in. Still plenty of green shirts forward. Viduka playing it across. Tremendous goal by Agostino. Well, the Melbourne boys, Viduka and Muscat combined. And it was the B-bomber who played it across superbly, and who was waiting in the centre but Paul Agostino. And listen to the roar of the MCG. Well, Muscat joined in superbly. His first attempt at a cross was blocked. But Viduka said, "I'll go near post," and he held it up well. And just look at that. And there is Agostino.
Yeah, he out-muscled Michel, didn't he? The number 2, have a look at this. Paul Agostino's a big boy. Didn't take much to out-muscle him, but Kevin Muscat down that right-hand side. That's exactly what Frank Farina wanted. Get the ball wide to Danny Tiato on the left and Kevin Muscat on the right. They've played to their instructions, they've done as they're told, and they've got their reward.
Zlatko Kalac, this is his 31st international game, so Australia's most experienced player out there now. It does augur well for Australia in a start in this first half, and the defensive back four has been very tight so far as well. No Alex Tobin in the heart of the defence. In fact, Sunday's game was the first international in 19 that Alex Tobin didn't play for Australia. This is great play by Australia again. Viduka just had no real room to move there. Oh, mistakes by Brazil. Tiato picks up the ball. Nothing on for him, so he attacks the fullback. Back to Ocon. Skoko. Nowhere really for him to go, so he brings more into the game. This is tremendous play by the Socceroos. Maloney. Muscat's going out wide again. Here comes Muscat. Agostino's on the edge of the box. Muscat went all the way. The ball just ran away from him. We'll talk about the Brazilian fullbacks getting forward. Kevin Muscat has been outstanding in the opening 15 minutes so far. Comment from Frank Farina after the loss on the weekend was better to lose now than go 14 games unbeaten and to lose the big one in the World Cup qualifier, which is what Terry Venables did as Australian coach. Agostino running at the defence. Now he brings Tiato in and just underhit the pass there, which is a real shame because it was a promising build-up again. Now Brazil forward with Lincoln. Pearson on the left-hand side, Maloney across very quickly to close him down, and Pearson goes past Maloney. When he ball inside, it will go back to Kalac. Luxemburgo is off his feet just a moment ago, screaming at his players. Not the sort of start he was looking for. Well, look at this. More signs that this Brazilian defence is nowhere near as composed as Sunday's. A mistake coming in there from Jean. Well, just came off his thigh there. Corner to Australia. Tiato across to take it. Goalkeeper comes and gathers fairly simply. It's an important game for these Brazilian players, as Luxemburgo made 8 changes to the side that was outstanding on Sunday. As Viduka is outstanding so far here, and he got away from his man there. And the crowd wanted him to go on. Well, sharp turn by Viduka. I was chatting to Edleni before the game, and he said that European players actually prefer free kicks to be blown up rather than the advantage played, which is requested so often by English and Australian players, so perhaps that's the reason why. That's way too big from Vidmar. For Wade, this Brazilian side have not looked a shadow of Sunday's team.
No, I guess when you do make so many changes, it's going to take you a while to settle down. And they haven't settled down at all. They haven't settled down because they haven't been allowed to settle down. And that man there on the ball right now is causing all the trouble. Not only is Paul Ocon running the show in the midfield, every time Mark Viduka gets the ball, he never releases it, never gets it taken off him, draws 2 or 3 players, and that's what causes problems, because then he can release it to a wide player and get himself in the middle.
A basket into the back of Mozart. Lincoln coming awfully deep to get in the game. It's a foul by Labert, who's settled very well considering it's a mighty big occasion for a young man. Danielson, just look at that. It's Australia 1, Brazil 0. Just keeping the ball in. No, that's more like it from Danielson. That's what the crowd have come to see. That was quite brilliant from the Brazilian captain. Into the area with the cross. Callets was waiting for it. Perfectly placed. And now Maloney tries to take advantage of the fact that Danielson is well forward. Ocon, Agostino, Viduka really have a lot of room to move it there, Mark Viduka. Danielson again, running at the defence. This time, the second man got back to stop him, but this is what he's capable of if you just give him too much room. That was brilliant.
I often wonder why clubs pay $55 million for footballers, just one man alone. And you've heard the crowd cheer a couple of times when the Brazilians have had it, and special moments like that is what people talk about when they go home in the car.
Tiersen looking for a special moment of his own. Danielson's out wide on the left. This time Muscat was back there and was in control. And Viduka almost stole it off Mozart there. Skoko, Maloney joining in. Brazil come away with the ball. Adriano forward. Still Adriano lines one up. Well, you could see what he was trying to do there, the 22-year-old. He had plenty of room to run at the defence. Plenty of time too to just decide what the option was. Moore kept backing off. Just tried to curl it into that top-end corner. Callets is a hard man to get the ball over the top of. space here for Adriano again. Brazil starting to come into the game a little bit more. Loose ball gets there. Great work by the Rangers man. The ball breaks for Viduka. First time layoff to Tiato. There's a good one. Ocon wants it. The switch is a good one as well to Maloney. Into the area, whips it to the near post. Skoko, still Skoko, takes the shot. Well, more reason for Frank Farina to be convinced that the changes have been good ones.
You know, down that right-hand side, Paul, you've got Kevin Muscat going 1 minute, then you've got Brad Maloney going the next. And Jean, who's supposed to be playing left-back, wouldn't have a clue who's coming when. He is drawn inside, and then there's a big gap in that left-hand pocket. He is in all sorts of trouble.
Tiato with the corner. Labert was there. He fouled his man when he went forward, the young Brisbane boy. And Mike Cockrell has got some more news from the benches.
Yes, Paul, Frank Farina a little bit worried about how quick this game is being played at the moment. He's issuing instructions to his players to just slow things down, keep their shape and just keep it tight at the back. He doesn't want Brazil getting too many opportunities on the counter.
Well, another free kick to Brazil. They have come into the game just a little bit more in the last 10 minutes or so. Lincoln. That offside was Adriano. Only just though, it was very close. Callas is very confident with the ball at his feet. Even on the left foot as he picks out Tiato. Well, it's no secret that Brazil have got Olympic gold medals on their mind, and that's part of the reason why they're here in Australia. They have made the Olympic final twice, in 1984 and in 88. They came third in Atlanta 3 years ago. Beating Portugal 5-0 in the third v4 playoff. The gold has been elusive. And Luxemburgo did say this week he'd like to bring this Brazilian Olympic team back again before the Olympics, provided they qualify. Well, Viduka, look at this. He really is confident at the moment. That one didn't quite come off, but he's just oozing with confidence.
Now, I asked him how much trouble he was actually having at Celtic getting away, and he said no trouble at all. I told the manager I'll be back in 10 days. So he was dead set sure that he would be playing both games. Unfortunately got that injury, but boy, he was looking forward to playing in front of his home crowd.
Well, he's in great form. 14 goals so far this season for Viduka. As we take another look at how he alluded to, and then the applause coming from the Australian bench. They can appreciate just the level of confidence that it takes to do something like that. Oh, what a mistake by Callas. Danger here. Well, he holds up his hand. I think it was only 60 seconds ago that I said how good he was with the ball at his feet. And look at that, should have been an equaliser really, but the shot was from Vale straight at the goalkeeper. Well done, Nielsen, the Brazilian captain. That's a lovely bit of work. Dummying for Aterson. Danger here for Australia. Aterson forward, whipped across. Moore was there. Lincoln, foul now. Quite amazingly, this is the first set-piece opportunity for Brazil outside the Australian penalty area over the 2 games. And Vidmar into the back of his man there. And that's a testimony to the discipline of the players, really, because I'm sure Frank Farina has warned them about Brazil's prowess from the set-piece. Just checking the near post, just 5 in the wall for Australia. Everyone's back for the Socceroos except for Paul Agostino. But Den Nielsen, the obvious taker of the free kick with his left foot. Well, what can the Brazilian captain come up with here? 5-man wall for Australia. Den Nielsen takes it over the wall. Well, even though you know exactly what he's going to do, it's still hard to stop it. And just see how close it was here. Perhaps about a metre wide, but Kalatz didn't look too perturbed by it all.
Paul, by Frank Farina suggesting that the players slow it down, if he wouldn't be better allowing them to slow down naturally as a progression of the game rather than saying to the boys slow down, because what so often it can do is
Skoko's just trying to play it in for Viduka. Well, not too far away, but that's certainly the sort of area that Viduka loves the ball. Go on, Wade, you've got to be carried away for a second. Oh, Viduka almost went through again.
You had every right to. Now, what it actually does is it makes the players relax. Slow it down can often mean in the heat of battle, just take it easy, take your foot off the pedal. Now, naturally, that will happen in a game of football because you'll get tired, but you'll get your second win. Now, with 5 substitutes, I think that Frank Farina probably has every right to have a real good go at this team at 100 miles an hour, and if they do blow a gasket, then replace them. So often, I just don't know whether it would be the right thing to say to the boys, slow it down and keep your composure.
Well, certainly Australia started like a house on fire, and it paid dividends with the early goal by Agostino. Now Den Nielsen running at the defence. Australian foot on the ball was enough. Mozart picks up a loose ball. Lincoln going deep. Marcos Paulo. Stolen by Viduka, was it? Not quite. And the ball fell free to Agostino. Viduka's going through the centre. Moore in quickly. Maloney now. Inside is Ocon. Viduka. Ocon flattened after the pass had been played. Muscat had something to say about that too to Eddie Lenny. Fouled by Den Nielsen. Well, the comments from the Brazilian press after the opening game was so far so good for Luxemburgo and the Olympic team. They're a demanding mob of journalists as he came out of the first clash with thumbs up from all the Brazilians, both here and back in Brazil. Just wonder what they'll be saying after this performance so far. He's got a fairly handy bench to call on the Luxemburgo, so just see what changes he decides to make. More good build-up from Australia. Tony Vidmar keeping it in, coming inside himself. Agostino. Ocon. That's easily cut out by Muscat. Maloney just tidies goes up, going back to Moore. Ocon prepared to look forward at every opportunity. Tiato under pressure and lost the ball. Mozart giving the ball away. Skoko joining in. That's a nice turn from Ocon, just opening up the whole left-hand side of the park for Australia. In space here is Tiato. Oh, he got past his man, but was just obstructed. Australia 1, Brazil 0. So far, Michel, the Brazilian right back, has kept Tiato quieter. That's a good ball played in. Maloney first to react to the loose ball. He's got 2 men on him though. We're really for him to go. He's been fouled. Well, all of a sudden, on set pieces, with Steve Labert in the team, Mark Viduka in the team, Australia look far more menacing. Whipped into the near post. Maloney back into space, the flag goes up for offside. It's Australia 1, Brazil 0. Just under 7 minutes to go here at the MCG. Vale tangling there with Labert. Tiato back helping out. Moore is in a deep position. Kalatz is very deep. His goal line, of course. Frank Farina has added local players. Pablo Cardozo from Sydney Olympic, Clint Bolton from the Brisbane Strikers to a squad as Australia look to come forward here. Viduka, sharp turn is a good one. Players waiting in the centre, the shot comes in! Well, Muscat again providing the real penetration for Australia, and I think that shot just about clipped the post as Muscat cut in on his left foot. He has scored once for Australia, and that was about half a metre wide. But the goal he did score was in very similar circumstances, galloping down that right-hand side. Well, there's no smile on the face of Frank Farina, but I'm sure internally he is quite delighted with the way his side has taken to this game. It's a loose one, Tiato's there, but his foot was up. Marginal call, I must say. We'll take another look. I'm guessing that Eddie Lenny gave it for studs up there, Wadey. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I must say that while he just caught him, he did catch him from behind, but I still think that Danny Tiato's feet were high on the tackle just before that. I must say, though, that Kevin Muscat, the reason I say that Kevin Muscat's a better player than that, he showed us with that attacking run. There he is, getting involved on that right-hand side again, knocking the ball around, cutting inside. That's the sort of Kevin Muscat that he's capable of being, exciting the crowd. That's the sort of Kevin Muscat we want to see more of, and not the other one.
Ocon now with a long throw. Viduka is waiting, using all his body. Terrific attempt there by Viduka, he's so strong. Ocon naturally aimed right for Viduka. He held off his man and he won the ball, and gee, it was close. Luxemburgo, the Brazilian coach, has got a lot more work to do at half-time this time than he had on Sunday. Mozart, Mathiasson. Danielson skips past one with a little shimmy that was blindingly fast. Inside. This is better from Brazil. The little layoff was just too quick though from Vale. That one's been given away. But it's important now at the final stages of the first half that Australia keep their composure, keep their shape at the back. As Danielson works into the area, taking on Muscat. Danger here for Australia. What will he come up with? A little dribble was superb. Callatz. Well, he read that brilliantly. He's probably the only one that did, because everyone else was following the hips of Danielson and we were all over the place. Well, the MCG is just buzzing as the wave goes round. And as Danielson shimmies and swings his hips. The scoreline reads Australia 1, Brazil 0. Pressure from Vidmar. Gives away the foul. Taken quickly, Marcus Paulo wanting to get on with the game. Mathiasson, fouled by Maloney. Well, Australia did face some criticism on Sunday for their heavy-handed approach to the tackling against the Brazilians. It's a nice ball for Vale. He's gone down. Goal kick is the decision. Brazilians hold their head. Vale asked the question. Craig Bohr just smiles about it all. Very close. Was there contact between Muscat and Vale?
Well, the only reason he probably didn't give him is because Eddie Lenny was following by about 5 yards just behind him. I think Vale was intending to go down anyway, got a little touch, but the intention of going down convinced Eddie Lenny that he wasn't going to give a penalty.
Well, certainly the referee, Eddie Lenny, had a great view of it. Final minute of the half, and it's a half that's just flown by. I hardly believe it's almost time for the half-time break. Danielson playing a great pass. Mathiasson overlapping outside him, still going across. Callatz has dropped it. Australia get the ball away. But credit there to the Australian goalkeeper, Zeljko Callatz, because he had no right to come for that ball almost. Only his incredible reach stopped it from going straight to one of the yellow shirts in the middle. But Danielson and Mathiasson down that left-hand side are warming to the task. Let's take a look at this. Fine ball. Mathiasson keeping onside but taking it to the limit. Callatz was all the way there, challenged by Adriano, and Steve Laban it was who tidied up.
Yeah, there he is, Big Spider. He's gambling, isn't he? Going out to the 6-yard box. But when you're a keeper in form, and that's what Zeljko Callatz is, you almost read the body language of the guy who's going to cross the ball, and he's so confident at the moment that he's taken these chances and he's winning them.
Well, Mark Viduka was surrounded by 3 Brazilian players there when he was fouled. Vidmar plays the free kick in for the second time. It's just gone too far. There's an interesting comment, Wadey, during the week from Mark Viduka as the half-time whistle goes. We'll just talk about that perhaps in the second half, but Australia, at the half-time break here, have a very handy 1-goal to lead thanks to Paul Agostino, who got on the end of a Mount Viduka cross for a simple header early on in the first half. And this is very much a different Australian team tonight than we saw on Sunday. Luxemburgo, the Brazilian coach, the shoes on the other foot tonight. He's the one that has to go and do the hard yards with his players. At half-time, Mount Viduka had a header that just whistled past the post. It could have been 2 to Australia. But at the half-time break here, after a scintillating first 45 minutes, it's Australia 1, Brazil 0. We're going to take a short break and be back with more in just a moment.